Thank you, Kurt. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Nair, and I'm the Vice President for Global Cloud Sales at Neo4j. And I'm super excited to talk about our enterprise user stories with you today. You folks might have heard in the previous presentations about our enterprise, the product, why we built it. Now it's a great opportunity for me to tell you how our customers are using it. So before we get started, I do want to set up some context. Graph technology has been powering endless use cases. Ever since the inception of Neo4j, we've had customers using us for fraud detection, market segmentation, personalized recommendation, drug discovery, cybersecurity, and the list really goes on. What's really interesting about this is that when we built our enterprise, we had an hypothesis that our enterprise would solve a lot of these use cases and more. What do I mean by more? We expect customers to be able to solve these use cases in a faster way, more scalable way, and more agile fashion using our enterprise. What we're really happy to report is, if you look at this really graphy slide, is over the past 6 months, we have been able to get so many of the largest enterprises in the world to adopt this new technology, right? If you look at the slide, you will see customers like Maritz, who's doing Customer 360, Siemens, who's also doing Customer 360 use cases. We've got Levis, Strauss & Co., and the Department of Education for the UK, where our enterprise is a key part of their digital transformation. We've got Dun & Bradstreet, who is doing master data management on the platform, or even a highly respected medical company like Boston Scientific, which is doing supply chain analysis. And if you look at the bottom, there's a company called Aker BP, which is a really cool use case. They are doing subsea operations and trying to find out impact analysis based on the operations in the oil and gas industry. So what is very clear to see is that the breadth of use cases which our enterprise is powering is phenomenal, but also the different types of customers and the segments they're in, the industries they're in, makes it really compelling to let us see that our enterprise is one of those products which is ready for enterprise prime time, and we are really excited to see how much more business value it can drive. What I'm going to spend the next 3 to 5 minutes on is diving deeper into 3 particular use cases. I'll talk about Worldline, I'll talk about Adeo, and finally end off with my favorite, Levi Strauss & Co. So hopefully you folks will be able to get some value from this and have some better ideas on how you could use Neo4j and our enterprise to architect modern applications in a connected data age. So let's talk about Worldline. Worldline is one of those customers who I'm really proud of, because Worldline was the first customer who came on board and actually trusted us by becoming our first EAP customer in September of 2020. And that's a very interesting time for me, because that's when I joined Neo4j as well, to come and take over the our enterprise business. And it has been one of those really synergetic relationships. So for folks who don't know who Worldline is a leading payment processor in Europe. They offer digital payments, they offer transactional and e-ticketing services. They're used in over 50 countries. They're experts in cloud deployment of enterprise class systems. So it is a company which is really at the forefront when it comes to technology innovation. What we're trying to solve with Neo4j, right? They were looking to build a journey planner that spans the entire UK rail network. They wanted to model transport networks, as well as to find a more optimized usage of the resources, eventually with the goal of improving customer and ticketing experience, right? So when we spoke to Adrian Hepworth, who's the chief architect at Worldline, he told us that, first of all, I'm choosing Aura because Graph is a perfect fit for journey planning, and the sophisticated and highly performant path-finding algorithms is what is really driving us towards the use case. But he did tell me that he did not want his folks to be spending time on undifferentiated heavy lifting, right? He wanted his developers to focus on building new features and functionalities as compared to spending time actually managing servers. So our enterprise was a really good fit in terms of their service-first strategy for Worldline as a company. Another key reason why they were looking at our enterprise was because they wanted a scalable, highly available environment, and our enterprise provides that for them out of the box. On top of that, security features for an enterprise like Worldline are important. So role-based access control and the deeper enterprise security features that we've built in the platform was another selling point for Worldline to to bet on Aura Enterprise as the future in terms of where they're moving towards, right? So really exciting use case. I always tell Adrian that he was the first customer who trusted us and decided to get on this Aura Enterprise train, and we couldn't be more excited to be partnering with Worldline and him moving forward. The next use case that we have is Adeo. So Adeo is a brand that I've become very Adeo is a brand who I have really worked closely with in the past 6 months. For folks who don't know what they are a big group, and they are the European DIY leader. And they're actually the third largest DIY leader in the entire world, right? So, you might have heard of the brand Leroy Merlin, which is in France, North America, Asia. It's actually a well-known household brand, and they do a lot of, as you can imagine, if you wanted to build a shed to get away from COVID, that's exactly where you would go and get the necessary resources, right? An interesting thing about Adeo is that they are a data-driven company at heart, and they're constantly experimenting with new technologies, right? So that kind of synergy of a company culture and what Neo4j is trying to do really did, we really were able to jive quite well together. Well, what were they trying to solve? They wanted to build a knowledge graph that unifies all product knowledge to basically improve your retail recommendations, their search, and their merchandising, right? If you think about that, for a retail company, that is at the core of what they're trying to improve for the customer experience, so that they'll be able to correlate directly how customers are making purchases, right? So why did they choose Aura Enterprise then? So the interesting story about Adeo is that they have already been running on Aura, our self-service platform, for the past year. And they really like the way the platform was self-service. They like the fact that they could easily turn clusters up and down. They also like the fact that, they could be very flexible in terms of their usage. But as they was putting more and more data into Aura, they realized that they needed to get a commercial relationship with Neo4j. They realized they needed to get uptime SLAs and support SLAs. And Aura Enterprise really played into that enterprise fencing when you think about that, right? And they really did not want to lean on themselves to manage databases, right? Adeo is a retail company. Their focus is to make sure they can get better products, features, retail recommendations, so that they can transact more deals in terms of retail. So they wanted the managing of databases to be left to Neo4j, the creators of Neo4j and Aura Enterprise themselves, right? So that was one of the main reasons why they looked at Aura Enterprise as their solution moving forward. The final point, which is very relevant to many industries, but most so for retail industries, is about having granular insights into your usage. As a retail company, we all know they're high volumes and low margin type of business. So for them, being able to correlate exactly how much your usage was one of the key factors. And the pricing model that Aura Enterprise provides, where we have consumption-based pricing, allows them to track and model usage very easily. This allows them to then have a lot more insight and visibility into what their future cost is going to look like, and they can then plan for that accordingly, right? And now to the final use case, and Levi's. Now, this is a brand which I'm sure everyone is aware of. I remember getting my first pair of Levi's jeans when I was 12 years old. I love that pair of jeans. I'm sure many of you have similar stories about it. What was really cool about working with Levi's is it's such a well-known global brand, but it's also, what people don't know is that it is a very sustainable manufacturing type of company, right? So they really focus on the sustainable practices. So it's a really cool denim wear company, the largest in the world, plus they really care about the environment. On top of that, it is actually a company that is driven by a data first and analytics first mindset. So Levi's has been a customer with Neo4j for the past couple of years, and they have been running 6 major applications as part of their digital transformation in an effort to reduce complexity in the design and manufacturing process. At that time, when we started introducing Aura Enterprise, Levi's was like, okay, I like the fact that the technology is working and I'm managing on AWS, but I really want to move towards a cloud-first type approach where I don't have to worry about managing databases. So Aura Enterprise came into the picture. We piloted with one use case for us to migrate that use case over to Aura, and that was done in 2 weeks, and it was extremely successful. Based on that, the customer is now looking to plan to migrate all the other applications over to Aura Enterprise over the coming year, right? Another use case that we're looking at is to store product catalogs and design options and manufacturing details in Neo4j to give designers a lot more flexibility in terms of having tools at their fingertips. Okay, so that was another good reason as to why they were looking at Aura Enterprise. They wanted to reduce the application build time, and that is easily achieved when you can quickly start servers up and running without having to worry about provisioning, managing databases, backups, and all those things, which is part of that process. And it also allowed the team to focus on what really mattered, which was to drive digital transformation and digital initiatives without having to worry about managing databases. So this was a perfect, I think, synergistic win, right? Where Levi's, great customer, been seeing the value of Neo4j, but they realized that they had to move over to Aura so that they could get further benefits by not having to worry about the operational aspect of running Neo4j, right? So hopefully folks can see that across those three use cases, there's a common theme, right? We are really trying to derive value from the technology to the customer as soon as possible without them spending undifferentiated heavy lifting and operational operational procedures, right, by having to manage Neo4j itself. On top of that, it is a big driver for innovation and agility, and the flexibility that the platform provides to you allows them to do that really quite easily. So hopefully this gave you folks a sense of the benefits of Aura Enterprise and how our customers are deriving value from it. We hope that this starts, getting you thinking about questions and makes you want to talk to us and say, hey, how can we really use Aura Enterprise to change the way we're doing things today on Neo4j? With that in mind, I would now like to welcome Kurt back to the conversation so that we can have a Q&A.
Thanks, Kate.
Great, thank you. Good to see you back again, Kurt. So we have had several questions from the audience, and I want to remind the audience if they'd like to submit a question, they can do so by typing it into the questions tab located at the top of their screen. If we don't get to all the questions, someone on the Neo4j team will reach out to you directly, or you can send an email to webinar@neo4j.com and we'll get you pointed in the right direction. But let's go ahead with the ones that we've received so far. So this has come up quite a bit in a number of different ways, and that's about security. And the question is asking, is Aura Enterprise secure? If you could address that, that would be great.
Sure, I'd be happy to take that one. We built, as I talked a bit about in my presentation, we worked quite a lot on security, both when building the foundation for Aura Professional and then also extending that to Aura Enterprise. And so the principle of security by design was practiced from the very beginning. And Aura Enterprise extends on the base of Aura Professional Security, which allows for and provides encryption in transit and encryption at rest for all of the data. So not only is Aura Enterprise secured for any communication between an application or a user and the database with TLS encryption and the latest ciphers, but also any data within Aura Enterprise is encrypted at rest, both for the data within the database, but also for any backups. Those are also encrypted at rest. And with Aura Enterprise, we extend that security profile by adding VPC isolation so that in Aura Enterprise, individual customers' databases and all of the infrastructure, networking, logs, everything related to a customer deployment is isolated within a dedicated VPC. So Aura Enterprise is quite secure, and the security profile and, in fact, the security governance that we exercise internally has been tested and validated by a number of very security conscious and rigorous customers that have done some very deep dives on both our security stance, our compliance, our internal security policies, and the technical underpinnings of Aura Enterprise.
Great, thank you for that detailed explanation. That was great. So I know that this has been touched on before, but this has come up about the different cloud platforms that Aura Enterprise is available on. Can we revisit that a bit?
Yeah, happy to. So today, Aura Enterprise is live and available and generally available on GCP, which is the platform on which we started and initially launched Aura Professional. We're also in an early access program on AWS. The product is complete, fully functional, launched and available, and we're working with a small number of customers in that early access program on AWS. We expect quite a lot of traction, quite a lot of success on AWS, and early returns are very positive. And the natural question then is Azure. And so we have started work on Azure and plan to expand to Azure. Our target goal is the end of this year for an early access program. And we've had a lot of interest there as well. That would complete our sort of initial triumvirate of the public clouds. Plans beyond that are a bit hazy, but that is our initial plan for public cloud availability.
Great, thank you. And here's one I think maybe for Kay. So you touched on the different industries and you had some use cases, but what industries in particular are we finding Aura Enterprise? Like is it just retail? Is it just, if you can expand on that, that would be great.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that question. So what's interesting is that I'm not seeing a particular focus on a industry, right? If you looked at this slide, which I had shown, we have customers across all industries, manufacturing, we've got finance. Worldline is a financial processor, right? We've got folks in the healthcare industry. We've got folks in all sorts, like fast moving companies, consultancy with PwC, and I think that's just the power of Neo4j. It just extends across all industries. Is really based on the use case, and I think use cases are more important than industries per se, right? But that's it. I think it's also important to take note that there are certain industries like the healthcare industry, which need certain compliances like HIPAA, right? So when they need those compliances, then some workloads which have patient information data might not be a right fit for Aura Enterprise today. That's it. We have ISO 27001 and we have GDPR compliance, so you can store PII data in Aura Enterprise. So some financial companies or insurance companies who want to push PII data, that's completely fine, right? So I would think of Aura Enterprise as a product which can transcend across industries, and it transcends across use cases as clearly reflected. But there are going to be some industries where it's going to be easier for them to be able to push it, and other industries, they might take a bit longer from a security and compliance perspective. Yeah, I hope that answers it.
Oh, great to know on the compliance for sure. So here's another one. So what are the main drivers for customers moving to Aura Enterprise?
Yeah, I'm happy to take this too, since Kurt's been giving a lot of feedback on the others. I think at the core of it, you're looking to reduce the need for undifferentiated operational heavy lifting, right? The customers are working with us. They want to build better products. They want to build better functionalities. They want to build, just more features for their either the business users or the customers. Everyone needs to manage service. There's nothing sexy about it. There's nothing differentiated about it, right? So if you are a company who's looking to, move forward in this digital age and you want to be able to get a competitive advantage over your competitors, you want to reduce doing anything which doesn't give you that advantage. And I think managing databases is one of those things, which is why there is a big trend towards a lot of customers moving towards cloud database as a service offerings today, right? I think that's one. The second thing is that with Aura Enterprise, you get the latest versions of Neo4j even before you would be able to get that if you're running it by yourself. So the fact that it is always ahead of you having to manage your own environment gives a lot of tech-savvy customers that advantage because they want to get access to new features faster. They want to get access to security fixes, any bug fixes, even before anyone else gets it. So I think there is a technological advantage which is always going to be there. And I think that's another reason why customers are looking at Aura Enterprise. And I think finally, the fact that we build Aura Enterprise on the major cloud providers and we allow a seamless way for customers to get the service to the cloud providers, to marketplaces and things like private office, it actually creates a really strong TCO value proposition. Because right now, they can use whatever committed buckets of spend they have with the cloud providers of their choice and use that to pay for Aura Enterprise. So the overall TCO that a customer has actually becomes a lot more compelling. So those are the three main reasons I would say customers are looking at Aura Enterprise.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. And it looks like we're getting tight on time, but I did want to ask this question because this is kind of the theme of the day. Emil talked a bit about the cloud strategy and the future. And so let's ask the question, is our enterprise the future of Neo4j, or how does it fit into the roadmap?
I can take a stab at that one. Thanks for the question. It's a good question. The fact is that over the past couple of quarters, 90% of our customers, whether they're purchasing Aura or whether they're purchasing Neo4j Enterprise Edition, are targeting deployment in the cloud. So the gravity is simply moving to the cloud. The reason that we are moving to a cloud-first company, the reason that we are putting so much effort, energy, calories behind Aura is because we recognize that customers increasingly want to be in the cloud and want to shift the burden of operations away from themselves and onto someone who can be expert at it, who can really do this for them and take on both the burden and the risk. And that's where we have a unique advantage. That's where we can provide something that no one else can provide. And there's immense value in that. And so whereas this isn't going to transition overnight, Aura and Neo4j as a cloud-first company and our ability to provide Neo4j as a service and effectively Graph as a service, holistically, the platform as a service, is most definitely the future of the company.
What a high note to end your session on. Thank you so much. Kurt and Kay, it's been a pleasure having you here. And for those of you in our audience, next up we're going to watch a short clip from our customer Lucinity. So please enjoy that. Thanks so much.
Well, hello, my name is Justin Bersic. I'm the head of AI at Lucinity. At Lucinity, we are building a very powerful human AI platform to detect money laundering and financial crime and really tackle these scourges on society. We do this based on our unique human AI methodology, which really brings together the unique creativity of human intuition with the computational power of machines, building trust between the two and synergies really to create and tackle money laundering. At Lucinity, we derive unique insights from our customers' data using explainable AI technology. And now through our partnership with Neo4j, we're able to really supercharge the insights that we can bring forward for our customers by leveraging the expressive power of graphs to extract further insights and explainability in our customers' data. Lucinity has always believed that holding data in graphs is the future. Leveraging graphs to surface insightful connections between data points, customers, accounts, transactions, and other important compliance and regulatory data points is key to fighting money laundering. Almost all legacy anti-money laundering systems and their architectures currently deploy relational databases to store information. Through laborious workarounds, you can replicate some of the functionality of graphs, though this is quite time intensive and resource inefficient. Graphs empower Lucinity to really create linkages in our data, creating a 360-degree view of our actors and transaction networks that we monitor, and really turn our investigators into superheroes. Through our partnership with Neo4j, we're able to further build on the insights that Lucinity pulls forward in our system and the value proposition that we offer to our clients by detecting deeper and more complex criminal networks, by reducing false positives, through the modeling of normal behavior, and really improving the efficiency of our investigation workflows. Graphs themselves are natively designed to handle very connected and complex data structure in a very efficient manner. And to us, this is the exact problem that we're solving in AML. So leveraging the power of graphs and graph data science is really key in our detection case management software. It allows us to really delve deeper into complex criminal networks and money laundering networks and supercharge the insights that we can bring forward onto our platform and deliver to our clients. For example, we're able to detect illicit clusters using various community detection algorithms. We can really mathematically analyze nodes and their importance through centrality and link analysis. and harness the rich relational data through expressive graphs and through the abstract representation of techniques and deep learning technology, such as graph neural networks. To us, Neo4j really stood out as a native graph database, the best at doing what they do, a very intuitive and schema-free approach. Our developers are very happy working with them, very easy to integrate with. And to be honest, the performance of the graph itself is a very high marker for us that helps us. Very cost-saving exercise as well. So this made the decision to go with Neo4j quite an easy one. Well, Lucinity's SaaS platform really aligns directly with the philosophy of Neo4j Aura, where they're focused on user-friendly cloud-hosted instances. It's very powerful, transparent, and really is an easy way to integrate with and very user-friendly. This made this a very easy use case for us and has built a very good relationship. On Neo4j Aura specifically, we know exactly what instances and databases are running in the cloud. We're able to upscale and resource our databases based on data requirements and really run complex queries deep into the network. The Aura Enterprise service itself allows us to focus on leveraging the power of graphs rather than having to continuously manage them.